Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the CIC Master Class on Common Data Environment Project Managers Kickoff Ceremony. This is Janice. It's my great pleasure to be your MC of today's event. A very warm welcome to all of you on this beautiful morning. It's delighted to have you with us here today. So apart from our guests attending in person here, our event is also broadcasting live online and attended by the guests from all over the world. So again, welcome to our online guests as well. And to enhance the industry's capacity to adopt and implement common data environment, CDE, and digital construction tools for the projects in Hong Kong, the CIC will launch the first signature course on CDE, namely the CIC Master Class on Common Data Environment Project Managers. The course is designed for practitioners at management level who wish to generate value from project data and leverage digitalization to improve business processes through the use of integrated CDE. Now, to officially begin, I would like to invite on stage the chairman of the Construction Industry Council, Engineer Thomas Ho, to come up to the stage for the welcome remarks. Engineer Ho, please.
Dear fellow digital construction supporters, good morning. First of all, a big thank you for Secretary for Development to come to us, I think, to grace this gathering. Thank you so much, I think. Thank you. Welcome to today's Masterclass on Common Data Environment Kick-Off Ceremony. For those who have joined our CIC recent activities will now know I'm an apostle of dream big, think big. One of my dreams is to foster construction industrialization, 工廠工業化, that is, promoting modular integrated construction. That's why we launched the Masterclass on MIC last month. As John Lennon has said, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. We are glad to see that the MIC is taking off in Hong Kong, and now we have more than 70 MIC projects have been approved, and a number of them have been completed successfully. We are seeing the concept of MI Infinity taking root in Hong Kong, and I look forward to seeing it mature in the next couple of years' time. Look at the video. This is what I imagined. Okay, so no matter it is MIC, MIMEP, MILEAD, or now we call MI Infinity, it isn't hard to do if we incorporate them into your processes. And that is why I invite all of us to manage this in your integrated common data environment. Hence, here we are today, the masterclass for CDE. The two key concepts of CDE is integration and single source of truth. In fact, integrated CDE builds the foundation of smart construction and smart Hong Kong. CDE provides a 7/24 platform for collecting, managing, and publishing information for improving team communication, productivity, safety, and sustainability. Integrated CDE offers numerous benefits. It improves project coordination efficiency, allowed effective management of information flow, helps on forecasting and reducing risks, and facilitate planning, facility management, and budgeting, reducing waste and carbon emission. The CDE play a pivotal role in our project delivery process and turning Hong Kong into a smart city. There's never been a better time than right now to embrace digitization and integrated CDE. In my recent visit to different projects, both public and private, I've now witnessed local talents making good attempts in implementing digitization and integrated CDE in different Hong Kong landmark projects. I'd like to state some. The Hong Kong Science Park Advanced Manufacturing Center, the Central Kowloon Road, Tseung Kwan O Desalination Plant, Tseung Kwan O Cross Bay Link, Kai Tak Sport Park, Lyric Theatre, Chinese Medicine Hospital. See, I'm not the only dreamer. In the example of Cross Bay Link, the use of integrated CDE and BIM give us a new perspective of how we can manage a large-scale project digitally. Robotic construction, GIS, BIM integration, digital twin, and different construction technologies are all enabled by the integrated CDE. It is only with CDE that we could make use of the project data effectively for the whole 84 prefabricated segment of the main structure with over 2,600 components. The use of CDE is not just limited to design and construction. CDE can be extended to the total asset lifecycle management and generate even greater values during O&M. Multiple pioneer projects, including this particular project, Zero Carbon Park that you are today, have implemented the BIM AM system. So EMSC, our director is here, have pioneered its integrated BIM AM system since 2015. They've extended the use of BIM and CDE for O&M works and digitized over 67,000 E&M assets in over 200 government venues. This marks an important step towards smart city development. The government-wide Internet of Things network supports the digitization and real-time monitoring of engineering assets at government buildings and facilities through LoRa sensors. The BIM AM platform supports remote monitoring facilities. Remote monitoring facilitate remote fault diagnosis and offer fast asset location using integration of data. Data is also transferred to Integrated Business System, IBMS, at the Regional Digital Control Center for Data Analytics. This is most important. For example, the AI prediction model had been developed recommending optimized setting of energy saving. I'm very happy to say it successfully now achieved a striking 99% accuracy in forecasting cooling demand and chiller performance. So with integrated CDE, you can now also make use of your data analytics to go even further for building a sustainable circular economy, 循環經濟. I hope you all now agree with me to adopt the zero waste plan from project inception to life asset management. That is, zero waste to landfill, zero energy wastage, and zero water wastages. So you can now see the potential of integrated CDE is endless. Let's look at this video. With so many great use of integrated CDE in the industry, we must keep up with the pace on training. The CIC offers a series of CIC Master Class in 2022. The Master Class on Common Data Environment is specifically designed for practitioners who wish to leverage construction digitization and adopt CDE in the business workflow. My dream will remain a dream if I don't have your support. I really have high expectation on the CDE Masterclass students who are also now with us today. Upon completion of the class, you will acquire skills of effective execution of the integrated CDE for information management and apply knowledge of integrated CDE and related digital tools to streamline workflow and improve productivities. You will be our change agents. Pass on your knowledge and experience and be the catalyst of transformation for the construction industry in Hong Kong as we get ready for the multiple mega-scale infrastructure and development project lineup in the coming golden era. We must embrace digitization, train up practitioners, and prepare our industry for the challenges and opportunities ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ho, for the welcome remarks. Please be seated. Thank you. So the potential of integrated CDE is endless. By adopting integrated CDE, we hope to build a sustainable circular economy, as mentioned by Chairman Ho, and eventually we reach carbon neutrality by 2050. And now, may we invite the Secretary for Development of the Development Bureau, HKSARG, Ms. Bernadette Lin, to come up to the stage and deliver the opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Lin.
Thomas, guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Thomas, so much for presenting the powerful video. I think it's a dream achievable. It's a great pleasure to join you here today to kick off this ceremony for the CIC Master Class on Common Data Environment. First of all, I would like to congratulate CIC under the leadership of Thomas for launching a series of signature courses for practitioners in the development sector. Let me also express my gratitude to CIC for your consistent support in our move towards promoting innovative and advanced technology in our construction industry. Recently, I have been meeting with representatives from our partner organizations in the industry, and we have exchanged views on the major challenges ahead. We have talked about the many mega projects that we will be coming up to deliver in the coming years, including, but not limited to, those in the Northern Metropolis and those under the Land Tile Tomorrow visions. Together with the private sector projects, we expect that the total annual construction output will increase from around $100 billion currently to reach the level of around $300 billion down the road in the coming years. And to embrace this enormous surge, we have to work together with the industry to prepare ourselves to enhance project delivery in terms of speed, quantity, quality, and efficiency. And of course, in the process, digitalization is the way out. There is no second way. So I would say that Construction 2.0, promulgated in 2018, marks the beginning of this new era. Since then, the government has been investing into the digitalization process throughout the whole life cycle of public works, starting from planning and design, moving on to construction, and then finally the operation stage. Amongst the various initiatives, we introduced the use of the Digital Work Supervision System, the DWSS, in 2019 to facilitate the supervision work for the construction stage, ensuring quality and safety. Up to now, more than 120 public works contracts with a total sum of $180 billion have adopted this DWSS. Of course, we have the planning and design stage at the very beginning, and we are actively piloting the use of digital system in some of our consultancy agreements. We are preparing to extend the scope of such a practice. And for the operation stage, different asset management systems are being developed or being enhanced by our works department to facilitate the management and maintenance of their facilities. Of course, we have been promoting BIM. And we need to set out a time schedule for full application of BIM in the private and public sector. This is a goal that we must aim at. In terms of funding, the government has earmarked $100 million to develop an integrated digital platform for our Capital Works program. This integrated platform automatically collects, integrates, and analyzes project data from digital systems for continuous monitoring of our projects, thereby facilitating the management to make portfolio-level decisions in a timely manner. The platform is being implemented in phases and will also serve as a common data environment for public works. I'm glad to learn from my colleagues that the first phase has just been launched recently. The government is also spearheading the development of the common spatial data infrastructure and its portal, providing a one-stop data platform to open up and share spatial data contributed by our various departments. The CSDI portal was launched for trial use by government departments in May this year, and it should be ready for public use by the end of this year. By then, over 500 spatial data sets from different departments will be released for public use free of charge, covering information on, for example, our infrastructural facilities, our outline zoning plans, our maps and pedestrian networks, our facilities, etc., etc. With a view to promoting the CSDI and its application, particularly to our younger generation, we established the GEO Lab last year. And since then, the lab has been closely collaborating with CIC and many of you here with us today. The above gives a brief account of how we have been trying to develop systems to facilitate digitalization. But as the chairman has rightly pointed out, these systems will shine only if we have the right people with the right mindset and skills to use them. And we need to train up our people in a campaign. We also have to prepare our existing workforce in the development sector for this challenge. And against this background, I cannot thank CIC more for launching this course today. And I cannot thank all the advisors and lecturers who are themselves practitioners or academia in the construction sector. And I wholeheartedly thank you for your contribution. Just now, I have been having a chat with the students who will be attending the course later, and they come from different backgrounds, from government departments, from the private sector. And I can feel just from a very brief chat your enthusiasm to learn new things in this digitalization era. And I hope that one day, perhaps, I will sit in one of these classes, and hopefully the lecturer will not ask me questions, so I can comfortably sit there just to feel and get myself involved. So let me assure you that the government will step up our efforts in driving innovation and technology development and to set out a roadmap. So we need a goal to make sure that this dream is achievable and to work together to achieve this dream. So let's join hands to open a new digital page for our industry as we work for the betterment of Hong Kong. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lin. Please be seated. Thank you. The CIC Master Class on Common Data Environment Project Managers is one of the 3 CIC signature courses this year. The successful completion of the CIC Master Classes relies on the unwavering support from our advisory panel members who have helped providing the advices and guiding us to develop a practical and thorough course content. So up next, we would like to present the certificate of appreciation to each of our advisory panel members. I would like to invite on stage our presenter, Head of Project Strategy and Governance Office of the Development Bureau, Engineer John Kwong, please. And I would like to invite our advisory panel members on stage. First, we have Mr. Kyle M. Devlin. Welcome, gentlemen. Please look at the front for a photo together. Thank you, and Mr. Devlin, please remain at the right-hand side of the stage for the group photo later. And next we have Mr. Paul Evans. Thank you, and please remain at the right-hand side, please. And next we have Mr. David Fong. Thank you. Next, let's welcome Surveyor Eric Poon. Thank you. Next, we have Engineer Dr. Llewellyn Tang. Thank you. And next, let's welcome Dr. Winnie Tang. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tang. And next we have Ms. Rosanna Wong. Thank you. Next, let's welcome Surveyor Yip Yin Yong, please. And last but not least, let's welcome Engineer Professor P.L. Yun, please. Thank you, gentlemen. Please remain here at the center of the stage, and I would like to invite other advisory panel members. Please come back to the stage and for the group photo together, please. Of course, we would like to capture these important moments. So ladies and gentlemen on stage, please look at the center front for a group photo. And also, we would like to extend our appreciation to the members who cannot attend our event today. All right, excuse our guests. Thank you. And please give a big round of applause to Architect Donald Choi, Mr. Mark Evans, Mr. Eddie Ho, Dr. Wendy Lee, Mr. Elvis Lee, Mr. David Phil, and Mr. Derek So, who are also very important members of the advisory panel. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen on stage. Please remain here. And may all the advisory panel members please take one step backward on the stepper, please. And we'll collect the certificate first, as we would like to take another big group photo together with our honorable guests. At the same time, I would like to invite our honorable guests to come up to the stage for the next group photo. Please welcome back the Chairman of Construction Industry Council, Engineer Thomas Ho. Secretary for Development of the Development Bureau, Ms. Bernadette Lin. Executive Director of Construction Industry Council, Engineer Albert Chang. Director of Water Supplies Department, Mr. Kelvin Low. Director of Electrical and Mechanical Services Department, Mr. Pang Yu Hong. Director of Drainage Services Department, Ms. Alice Pang. Deputy Director of Architectural Services Department, Mr. Michael Lee. Project Manager and Major Works of Highways Department, Mr. Lok Wai Hong. Head of Spatial Data Office, Mr. Chen Yu Chung. And CIC Council Member, Surveyor Thomas Ho. And CIC Council Member, Surveyor Eddie Lam. Also our CIC Council Member, Mr. Simon Liu. Director of Hong Kong Institute of Construction, Surveyor Winnie Xu. And also Director, Industry Development of Construction Industry Council, Architect Daniel Soon, please. All right, welcome our honorable guests on stage. Please move a little step to the left, please, and get closer to each other to the center. And please look at the center front at the official camera, please. One more at the official camera, please. All right, now I would like to invite Ms. Bernadette Lin, Engineer John Kwong, Engineer Thomas Ho, Engineer Albert Chang, Surveyor Winnie Xu, and Architect Daniel Soon. Please remain on stage. For other advisory panel members and other guests, you're welcome to be seated. Thank you. Inviting our honorable guests remains on stage, as we are going to invite our lecturers to come up to the stage and join the next big group photo together. Of course, our lecturers means a lot to us as well. And now, let's welcome on stage our lecturers. we have Mr. Chen Yu Chung, please. And Professor Jack Chang. Mr. Chris Chang. Architect Rachel Chow. We have Mr. Sammy Lai. Welcome Surveyor Thompson Lai. And we have Engineer Lee Che Kit. Welcome Mr. Luk Wai Hong. Again, welcome Surveyor Eric Poon. And back to stage, we have Engineer Dr. Llewellyn Tang. Dr. Weenie Tang. Surveyor Paul Choi. Ms. Rosanna Wong. And Engineer Calvin Wong, please. All right, again, welcome all the lecturers on stage. Please, again, look at the center front for a group photo together. Shall we get closer to each other, please? And of course, our lecturers are a very important part of our master class. Shall we also show a thumbs up for the next photo together? Thank you. Thank you very much again, ladies and gentlemen. Please put our hands together for the lecturers and our honorable guests. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Thank you. We are delighted to have all our honorable guests, our advisory panel members, and also our lecturers joining our ceremony today. And I've taken these very important photos to memorize these occasions. Thank you again. Thank you very much. And up next, we are delighted to have invited two renowned overseas CDE experts who are also the members of our course advisory panel to give us keynote speeches about their experiences. Firstly, we are pleased to have Mr. Mark Evans from Mo Madano and Centre for Digital Build Britain to share with us Common Data Environments, a Practitioner Journey. So now over to you, Mr. Evan.
It's a real pleasure to join you. So thank you for inviting me to be part of this opening ceremony for the signature CDE course. What I'd like to do is talk a little bit around common data environments in the context of a digitalisation journey. And the way that I'd like to do that is first by considering the importance of common data environments. Talk a little bit about skills, capability and leadership and where the signature CDE course fits into that. And then thirdly, to talk about the digitalisation journey for practitioners and organisations and really to think about what it is to change a whole industry. So let's start with the importance of common data environments as part of wider digital transformation. And we can see that at the core of digital transformation is people. It's really all about people, about enabling people to use information better, to make better decisions, to improve processes and apply technology wisely. And so I see common data environments as part of this picture, a really important part, because common data environments help us to move away from a situation of chaos, where everybody has their own version, you don't know who owns what, and you don't really know about who's sending what information to whom. So a common data environment provides a collaborative environment for sharing work. And I think that this is really key. A common data environment is really all about enabling collaboration around shared data. And so it moves towards this situation where we could have the single source of truth, streamlining processes, facilitating better coordination, enabling greater efficiency. And so we can see this in real projects. And so I just use an example from Montreal of HS2, where you can see the common data environment is not just about coordinating BIM, that's an important part, but also project controls and the deliverables and the project information. And what this enables is this intelligent reporting, information coordination, having the clear ownership and status and purpose, and the greater efficiency in delivery and coordination. And this delivers real benefits. And we can see that what this does is enable quicker access to data, more informed decision making, saving time and effort for a variety of different people across the operation. And it delivers kind of real numbers in terms of savings. You can see here £200,000 coming from more efficient, more effective asset information management, and a 95% reduction in the time taken to access federated model information. So some really big savings, some genuine benefits of common data environment. So it's not just theoretically a nice thing to do, it is practically a really important thing to do. So that's a core part of the importance of common data environments. And maybe just at a high level to summarize that, you can see that, that there are at least 3 reasons why common data environments are so important. And firstly being to do with capacity. There is currently such a huge amount of data, huge volumes of data, and that's only going to increase. And so there's something to do with the capacity of managing all of this information. And secondly, it's about collaboration. And there's long been a trend towards collaboration, but now it's an absolute necessity. And that collaboration is enabled by collaborating around shared data. And then there's the consistency. And a lack of consistency in information really is a huge problem. And so that leads to inefficiency. And so what we're really talking about is putting the right information in the right hands at the right time to make the right decisions. And a core part of that is about increasing, improving the whole thing around skills, capability, and leadership. This is a really key enabler, and I think this is one of the real reasons why this signature CDE course is so important, because it really addresses this, and it starts in a really good place. I think by focusing on the top management, senior management, project managers, it picks off the people who are going to be able to lead change. And this is a theme I'm going to kind of come back to, looking at this really through the eyes of change. It is about change, and that needs leadership to drive that change. And also on the signature course, it very neatly addresses a big picture. It looks at all the important points, the whole life cycle information management, addressing the CDE fundamentals, but also looking at CDE for digital planning and design implementation. Then moving into digital construction and manufacturing implementation, and beyond that into digital operation and maintenance implementation. So a real overview of through life cycle information management, and this is where huge efficiencies will come. And so increasing the skills, increasing the capability, recognizing the role of leadership in that is absolutely key. And like I say, a really good reason why this signature CDE course is so important. I think it goes beyond that as well. And this is where I want to pick up on the theme of the journey. Because digitalisation really is a journey, and it's about changing the whole industry. So yes, it's a journey for individual practitioners, individual leaders, but it's also a journey for whole organisations and for the whole industry. And that's why I think it's important to consider that bigger picture. And recognising it as a journey, then it's important to have a clear destination, knowing where we're trying to get to and being very clear about that. And that might sound very visionary, and it might sound like a long way off if we're just describing a destination that ultimately we will get to. But really important to understand the first practical steps on that journey so that we can actually get started and go somewhere. And so I think it's important to capture both of these things, the destination and the first steps. And that's done very neatly in roadmaps. And I think that having a roadmap for the digitalisation journey ends up being really important. And so I guess the point I would like to make here is that seeing this as a journey means that it does need direction, but also we should see that it implies change. And it's change for the whole industry, and it's something that needs to be shared. And so it's good to have an understanding as to what you have to do to change a whole industry. And I think part of that, part of driving that change, is to understand how the machine works and to see how very important clients are in this machine. Because what the clients ask for will drive the supply chain. The supply chain will line up to what the clients ask for if the clients ask for the right things. So that includes the consultants and advisors and contractors and suppliers. And so there's a really important leadership role of clients to get industry change and to get it to be shared across the supply chain. It makes no sense for each individual organisation to do their own individual change in a different way. It needs to be shared. But then there's also something above the clients in relation to investors, insurers, regulators and policymakers. And again, it makes sense to have alignment here. So I think understanding how the machine works, the machine of the industry, how it works, so you know which cogs to turn that will create the biggest change. And I definitely see clients at the centre of that. And I think that it kind of requires some kind of connection and coordination across this whole picture. I think that is likely to lead to better change than just leaving it to chance. So that's an important part of change, but I think that there's something else as well, which is to see that in any change, there's always this picture that I'm sure is very familiar to you, of the early adopters picking things up first, innovating and moving forwards. But then you have the early followers and the late followers, which are kind of the bulk of the industry. So this picture is familiar to us. But I think that if we see that the actual change, if we want to drive actual change across an industry, that's really about the bulk of the industry. And so let's just focus on that for a bit. You can see the importance then of the front edge moving forwards, advancing best practice. And then you need some kind of translation so that the bulk of the industry can pick it up. And a lot of this is being done. And I think ISO 19650 is really good as translation that can readily be picked up. But then the actual change happens in the bulk. And so I think that this is where the biggest challenge comes. The biggest challenge is really about adopting the good practice that already exists. And good practice does already exist around common data environments. And I think that's where our challenge lies to change a whole industry, is getting that good practice adopted much more broadly across the whole industry. And how to drive that change? Well, I've already picked up on the point about roadmaps and it being a journey and needing to have the destination and the first steps. But I think there's other points which are really helpful in this. And one is to do with benchmarking and knowing how the industry is changing, kind of an understanding of maturity and keeping that up to date so you can see whether the dial has shifted. So in order to see if the dial's shifted, you need a dial. So some kind of digital maturity to understand how individual organizations and the industry are changing. But then also to have something that identifies and shares good practice, so that you don't have to have everybody inventing their own wheel, that it's actually shared and lessons learned are shared across the industry. So I think keeping it simple, but these three things make a really big difference. And so what that points to is some pretty big change across the industry. Common data environments are a really important part of this bigger picture. But what I think we can imagine is end-to-end data and digital integration. And that involves a lot of different things. And I'll just talk in a moment very briefly about connected digital twins. But I think that we can see that there's a lot to go at here in connected data environments, focusing on outcomes from complex systems, enabling high-quality data models and top-level ontology. So common data environments are a brilliant way to get going. It's real, practical, important, will make a difference, increase efficiency. But I think the journey goes beyond that, which is exciting. And where it might get to, and I said I was going to be brief on this, but understanding that we could move towards having an ecosystem of connected digital twins. This really does pick up on the idea of common data environments. It's just about shared data across digital twins, enabling them to be connected, to understand systems better and intervene more effectively. So I guess what I'm wanting to put across here is that there's an exciting world out there of change. Common data environments are a brilliant way to get started on this journey. So to conclude, the importance of common data environments, I think it's really all about collaborating around shared data and enabling those kind of efficiencies. When it comes to skills, capability and leadership, this is absolutely essential, a great place to start, and fantastic to see this signature CDE course addressing exactly this. And then when it comes to the journey, I hope it's encouraging to see that there's more to go at. I think that this is all part of the idea of a journey. There will always be more to go at. But that journey, importantly, it needs direction and it implies change. So we should do that change on purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Enser, for the valuable sharing. Thank you. And next, we are pleased to have Mr. David Philp, Director of Digital Consulting, Strategy and Innovation of AECOM and Construction Innovation Hub, to share with us on the topic of Adventures in Integrated Information, a global perspective for redesigning our built environment, enabled by an ICDE practical application and lessons learned. So now let's hear from Mr. Philp.
Good day, dear colleagues. It's a real honour to present you today at the kick-off ceremony on what I consider the start of an incredible journey. It's one I wish I was part of. I'm David Philp. I'm Director of Digital Consulting, Strategy and Innovation at AECOM Europe, and I'm delighted to join you here today. I'm also Impact Director with the UK Construction's Innovation Hub programme, where we especially champion digitally enabled manufacturing and modern methods of construction, and indeed the sector drive towards Industry 4.0. We are also especially interested in value profile and value that extends beyond cost and time. And I think that's really essential when you think about an integrated common data environment. Think about the value you can do and achieve that extends beyond. You can see within there, we use a 4 capital model, and it's thinking about how an ICD can give you value that extends beyond produced capital. Think about the benefits it brings to your natural capital, how you can start to make decisions around about air quality, climate, and also think about social capital, maybe in terms of connected networks, but also human capital. Think about the different ways it's going to expand career opportunities and experiences as well. So we're really thinking about how we can bring these things together. But I believe if we're serious about change, and again, how an ICD can make this change happen, we really have to think about value as well. At heart, I'm a construction manager and engineer, but for the last 15 years, I've been helping clients around the globe in digitisation of their built environment, especially deployments of ICDs. During that time, I've been lucky enough to be head of BIM implementation with the UK Government's construction strategy, and chair of the Scottish BIM programme. But probably more interested, I've been honoured to support many initiatives in meeting in Hong Kong, so I'm especially delighted to support you and honour guests and participants today. However, what's today about? For me, it's a real opportunity to share the lessons I personally learned from my digital journey across the globe, especially in the context of mobilising and deploying ICD environments. So before I really get into these lessons learned, I want to try and frame the importance of an integrated common data environment and give some context as to why I think it's essential in addressing 21st century, which are often complex or multidimensional challenges that we face, not just in the UK, but especially around about the globe, and I'm sure Hong Kong as well. You can see this is an image in the UK. This is how we now envisage our built environment. You can see right at the heart of it, we put societal outcomes. How can we actually think about, changing what we do? And digital is at the heart of this. It's increasingly at the heart of what we do in our built environment. It's actually, think about what you do. You're helping shape decisions and interventions and how data and the use of technologies such as the ICD can do this. And you can see within the UK, our government thinks actually we've got to think at societal outcomes at the very top of what we're doing. That's what we're trying to achieve and better. We do this through making decisions. And you can see again, reiterating what I said, it's about value-based decisions. It's systems levels, network, asset level, and project level decisions. So when we think about an ICD can support all these levels, not just at project, but asset, network, and systems as well. So it can scale up or scale down. And it's helping give us insights from all the data within there as well. So when I think of an ICD, I think of it as a key enabler of building in resilience. It's also a means of creating high-performance built infrastructure. Well, how do we do that? Hopefully the visual shows it's about integrating data. Now that might be operational data, it might be carbon, it might be occupancy levels, it might be energy. And incredibly, we're starting to see much more of a move as well towards how we utilise machine learning, the algorithms, to find patterns within these data as well. I think when you look at this diagram as well, and this is one from our UK government, I think we now recognise the built environment as a complex system, but more importantly, a system of systems where we have created an amazing complex machine in which we as a society really depend. And you've got to think about it, without our built environment, our whole lives would be immeasurably worth, and you think society probably wouldn't survive. And this machine's our infrastructure, our built environment. So an ICD is hugely important to this. Integrated information to, I think, better understand how we can actually deliver desirable outcomes. And that's for people in the wider environment, but also, especially in Hong Kong, how you can integrate new assets properly into the existing built environment ecosystem through an ICD, how you can realise available value from the assets you already have, and how you can help provide resilience for society that requires this infrastructure. And I think above all, the ICD is going to help unlock the potential for digital transformation across the whole of the Hong Kong built environment. I think looking back as well, reality is our world is changing and the built environment's changing. We need to embrace digital ways of working to enable sector transformation. Again, back to our model, it's going to help us unlock the societal outcomes that we need to arrive. So you can see on the right-hand side, one of the things we think the ICD opportunity extends right the way, right across, is going to help us get the benefits we need as a society through better use of data that's integrated together, building in resilience. Within the UK as well, I think this is a hugely valuable paper. It was a Centre for Digital Built Britain, and that produced a paper, Flourishing Systems. And you can see within the image here, the central idea was simple, I think radical as well, that the purpose of infrastructure, you can see on the right-hand side, infrastructure being our built systems and natural environment, but it's about human flourishing. Infrastructure needs to be viewed and managed as a system of systems that serves people and environment. So when I think about what the benefits of an ICD, it's recognition that the services that the built environment provides have a connection with the outcomes we desire and the systems we use to achieve them. And that can become quite complex. And for me, the ICD is going to help do that. It's going to bridge the chasm Big part of it is bringing together what we now maybe recognise as a digital twin. It's thinking about how we can actually bring together data for our physical and digital built environments, the data, the interventions that they're going to do. And I think an ICDE is going to be hugely important to this. It's going to give us the insight, which is pivotal as the physical assets. So we're starting to bring this together, and I think the ICD is going to be a great enabler of digital twins. You can start to see there, you think about what the ICD is going to do. It's going to help us connect data, it's going to give insights, it's going to help give us decisions, interventions, but ultimately, we should always be focused on how the ICD can give us better outcomes. So let's look back. I mean, I've been lucky enough to travel to Hong Kong and see your journey you've went on. I think it's been incredible. And what I've seen is digital technology is changing the way that you, and probably we, how we plan, how we build and maintain our social and economic infrastructure. And as you've seen in Hong Kong, building information modelling, geomatics, are already transforming the way your construction industry works. But now what we're starting to see is these technologies are combining and integrating with Internet of Things, sensing technologies and other dynamic information. They're also integrating with probably advanced data analytics, digital twinning as we've just seen, but also the digital economy. And that's going to enable us to plan new infrastructure more effectively. But also the ICD will help us deliver it at lower cost and operate it more effectively. But when I look at your journey, I think that probably the key goal is an ICD will enable the citizens of Hong Kong to make better use of the infrastructure you already have. That might be microservices that sit above it. But for me, the ICD will be an essential component for organisations and government departments in Hong Kong to thrive, to drive new value, manage increasingly complex risk in our built environment. I think it's a foundation as well for ambitions in terms of a digital Hong Kong, in terms of digital twins, but also it's going to help with interoperability, and it'll help, if you like, create an information management framework in terms of what we're doing. But right, let's start with the main thing. Why do we need an integrated common data environment? And I hate to say it's always a bit of a sad story. Well, an integrated common data environment is going to help create a golden thread of information right through a project lifecycle, if not beyond. The reality is, when we look at many asset owners, they've got no accurate record of their building information or their infrastructure information. And in recent times, we've seen, consequently trigger events that have led to tragic situations. I'm sure many of you have seen the tragic fire we had in the UK. The image you're seeing is from Scotland, near me, where it was a primary school in Edinburgh, where a wall collapsed. You look across the US, Miami, and all these things have actually highlighted the need for centralised index data. One of the things that's been common to all these tragedies, it's taken months, if not years, to find information. And often we're having to carry out intrusive surveys because the information wasn't at hand, or it might not have existed within there. That wall, when it collapsed in Scotland, meant the closure of many schools to try and find information. Again, at a big societal index there. So what we've seen is data currently often lives within silos, it's not computer readable, and it makes searching difficult, costly, and a manual process. And I believe that an integrated common data environment, at the heart of it, is going to help us ameliorate that. It's going to help us shift, if you like, from an often paper-centric approach on the right to a much more digitized way of doing things within there. Now, what I would say is often business leaders say, that is there financial value in doing this? The answer is simply yes. In the UK, a report that found out when we use such technologies, but also information management processes, we could potentially secure savings between £5 and £10 of direct labour productivity for every pound invested in information management. Invest £1, you can save between 5 and 6 societal value, but real benefits as well. And between almost £7 and £7.50 in direct savings from reduction in delivery time, labour and materials for access to information. So the business case for an ICD and better information management is real. It's also helping us move beyond individual projects. It's creating a cyber-physical fabric, bringing all these information together, allowing sharing information of data across projects, programs, and departments. It's helping us say when a new project kicks off, we're not having to resurvey for base information at the start of every new project. So for me, the business case is extremely clear for an ICD and better information management. Some of the simple lessons learned is, from the journeys we and our clients have been on, is think about security. And I don't just mean cyber security, but mindful security. There's a huge opportunity with what we're doing. But you can imagine with an integrated common data environment, it's no longer about the organization. It's about sharing information across lots of third parties. Do you really know them? So what I would say, again, from our lessons learned, is information is a real asset. It's an asset that needs to be properly managed. So take a mindful security approach to your ICD, create a system that can be trusted, and it can help you to de-risk projects. So think about, for your projects and your programs, creating a security strategy for information, security information management plan. But what we'd say it should always be appropriate and proportionate, be able to dial it up or dial it down to the needs of there. So essentially, consideration of your ICD, assessing, identifying, controlling, and communicating security. The information itself in your ICD may not be sensitive, but when we're now integrating, aggregating information with other information, it's going to give it additional context, which may make it more secure in nature. So one of my things is actually just think about mindful security when we're putting this up. It's a huge opportunity. But when you start your journey, start with why. Take a people-centric view of your ICD. Put a real focus on discovery and engagement. And this is the sort of framework we use within AECOM. You can see with there, we start with people. We build user stories and use cases. We understand their focus areas, what information, their key performance indicators they need information on. What are the processes? How can we use an ICD to make better decisions? How can I get business value, not just in terms of projects, but in terms of asset delivery? And think about information requirements that are going to build efficiency. So a simple framework that is people-centric in terms of what we do. And we think this framework about better engagement, discovery is key to standing up and mobilizing a CDE. You also have to create value, and this is an example from the work that we've done with our National Health Service in Scotland, an integrated common data environment of 21 regional and specialist boards. We work with them to determine right at the beginning when they're writing their business case how an ICD is going to create value. But one of the things that was hugely important is we created impact pathways to realise it. So the impact of the ICD should not be incidental. It should be something that's managed. And you can see there, keep it simple that senior leadership can understand it. And you can see there, keeping it simple, again, so it can be communicated well. Communication of the value proposition is hugely important. What we also done, and I think this again was lesson learned, was we created the standalone, here's the value of the ICD. But you can see within this slide, down at the bottom, were their corporate objectives for healthcare. It should be person-centric, safe, quality of care, health of population. And we mapped all the value benefits of an ICD onto the overall benefits at corporate level. So senior responsible officers, board levels could understand it. So a line of sight between what we're doing at an ICD level right up to the policy and the decision-making level. And again, that was really important, be able to map them to the macro level to win hearts and minds. So not just about the technical benefits of an ICD, but that line of sight back to policy and key corporate objectives. One of the things as well is get the basics right. We call them the fundamentals. You can't go and do all these complex things if you don't get the basics right. And that's really important to getting impact. And one of the big things is we often found we had to harmonise existing procedures, we had to update them within there, such as naming conventions and information classifications. However, the reality is people don't understand these. So we had to often start off with very simple ways of trying to give it context. You can see within there, harmonised naming conventions. Before we started talking about the detail, we gave them an example of a car registration. Now, everybody understood the car registration plate. They could understand the country, they could understand the area, they could understand the age of the car. It gave them great context. So we found thinking about simple ways to communicate before we go to the technical part, to give real context and getting these basics right was important. And we could go from there to here. So always trying to create the context. When we're trying to do something such as naming conventions, to get these fundamentals right, we always have to make sure that people understood and could be part of the conversations. One of the big things I would say as well, in terms of lessons learned, is we mentioned people building the workflows around about your ICD. And we found real benefit in what we call domain or persona-based modeling. And that was trying to think about a typical day in a job role. It could be an estate manager, a facilities manager, or a user as someone who uses an asset within there, how they'll search for information, what information they'll need, the data aggregation to support and optimize their job role. You can see within there one of the workshops we've done, we had about 20 people in the room. We looked at a typical person. What did they do in their day that they needed information for within there? And then what we've done was do a much more detailed mapping behind the scenes. But again, building, if you like, user stories was key to building that ICD environment. Now, what they allowed us to do was to start to thinking more and more about, if you like, what views they need. So you can see within there, by doing the persona ones, a typical view that an FM person wanted was they wanted to be able to get access to all their cleaning and maintenance data, all their as-built information, their certifications, their hazards, all the survey data. Now that was built as a result of persona mapping, which was hugely important in terms of what we were doing. So a big part of achieving there as well. Now, one of the things, this is an example again from NHS Scotland, is an integrated common data environment can be quite complex in nature. With the very heart, it's an integrator. We're thinking about data and aggregation to give us insight. Now, this is a really important one. What are some of the things we'd say? Don't integrate because you can. Test any potential integrations and don't get tied into inexpensive API licensing. 3 things though. Start small. People are often afraid of change within there. Win hearts and minds. Find a specific problem to solve. Find out who owns that problem and work with them. Try small, make sure you can do it as a starting point, a proof of concept, if you like. Then start to think more and more about the desired outcomes. There's a term we use that technology has often got a tendency to wag the dog, and that means we often take a technology shallow understanding of the business problem. We need to think more and more about the output and not the technology. I think if we take a technology-led approach to, if you like, integration, well, there's a lack of adoption. Well, how do we mitigate against that? We need to let use cases drive the integration. The use case is simply an example of how the end user will use integration to achieve their goals. We need to do that first. We need to spend time with the subject matter experts, the end users, to really understand the problem, identify the data needed, and to solve the problem as well. So start small, focus on outcome, and again, build the use cases of the persona stories for integration. Finally, an ICD will change how you currently work. For example, it might be in terms of linking a BIM to, if you like, a SCADA system, a building management system. It might start to think about machine learning and analytics to allow us to preempt system failure. So my view is you're going to do all these amazing things, but you've got to think about business change. Think about the new models that your ICD can enable, but also think about your other change dimensions for deployment. Think about your cultural change. Think about business processing. It might be slight modification to re-engineering for impact. Think really about the business change. So in summary, I believe, and hopefully we'll demonstrate, that an ICD has real value. It's going to give you better impact, but also has huge commercial value as well. Not an ICD in isolation, but also the information management processes. Communicate, communicate, communicate. That's hugely important. Communication is a big part of any business change, and an ICD is no exception. Focus on the impact. Start with that right at the beginning. What's the change you want to make, and create impact pathways? Think about the science of change. It's a journey. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Start with the small wins, win hearts and minds as well. Remember, if you're going to get this right, it should be people-led, people-centric, and not technology-led. Technology is an enabler of ICD, but it's not going to make the change happen in itself. I think enjoy the change journey. It should really, really be fun. But I wish you well in terms of your journey. I think Hong Kong has now got a real amazing program, and I wish you well for today's ceremony. So thank you for listening to my story, and I wish you well in your journey in Hong Kong. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Phil, for the generous sharing and your insight on CDE. So now to round up our event, may we invite the Head of Project Strategy and Governance Office of the Development Bureau, Engineer John Kwong, to come up to the stage and deliver the closing remarks. Engineer Kwong, please.
I'm conscious of time. And Chairman Thomas, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for giving me the chance to deliver the closing remarks for today's event. Delivering closing remarks is never an easy task. I will try my best to recap some of the messages that is delivered by the speakers this morning. Just 2 months ago, and on this same stage, I talked about common data environment in the CDE award launching ceremony. Today, with very high efficiency, CIC is already rolling out the Master Class of CDE for project managers. I'm sure the construction industry has high expectation on this Master Class. Before talking about common data environment, I would like to talk about digitalization first. Digitalization is a driver for transformation in the construction industry. We have to be innovative and have to be vitalized. We have to keep attracting the brightest minds, keep making the industry safer, keep becoming more efficient day by day. With digital technology and data, we can provide better information, better efficiency, and better outcome for our construction industry. For construction, digitalization has 2 clear steps. Firstly, digitalization is about enabling the adoption of digital and advanced technology for improving processes and driving performance in our work. Secondly, we are conscious that data is an invaluable byproduct of the digital process. We can harvest data and make good use of them to make right decisions at the right time. The ambition of the construction industry is to becoming information-rich, not only data-rich. By becoming information-rich, we can develop a perpetual value chain. We can use the data collected to inform design, schedule, and cost. This can, in turn, enabling the implementation of advanced technology to drive better operations and ultimately better values for Hong Kong. To capture data efficiently in the construction industry, we need to establish common data environment. CDE enables us to capture of construction data from multiple integrated information management systems as well as project participants throughout the asset life cycle. It also enforces common data standards and governance to improve quality of captured information. For a contract, a project, an entity, an organization, or even the construction industry as a whole, CDE provides us up-to-date portfolio view of the construction activities and enables us informed decision-making from project to portfolio level. This can result in better information, better efficiency, and again, better outcomes. Recently, I chaired the first meeting of the task force on digitalization of public works. I'm glad to tell you that our works departments have already embarked solidly on a journey of digitalization, such as the Water Works Department, Water Supplies Department, EMSD, DSD, and all other works departments. Digital Twin, IoT, GWIN, Smart Building Data Hub are some of the activities and initiatives that we are already working on. We will consolidate efforts from works departments and develop relevant policies to drive digitalization of public works in a concerted direction. The task force also discussed the establishment of common data environment for public works. CDE can enable data integration and big data analysis to monitor public works performance continuously. Coupled with AI and other advanced digital technology, we can optimize public works performance in respect of productivity, cost effectiveness and efficiency, sustainability and safety. Lastly, may I extend my congratulations to CIC for launching this masterclass on CDE. And I wish the masterclass every success and all participants a most enlightening experience. Let's work together for a better construction industry for Hong Kong. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Kwong, for the closing remarks. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. And we have come a long way from promotion to in-depth knowledge sharing of CDE technology and have gathered invaluable and practical experiences from numbers of completed and ongoing projects adopting CDE. And we are pleased to launch the first signature course on CDE, CIC Master Class on Common Data Environment Project Managers. So once again, many thanks to all of you attending our event here, and of course our online attendees for joining the kickoff ceremony today. Before the students attending the Module 1 at the CIC Beam Space, I would like to invite the chairman, executive directors, our advisors, lecturers, and of course our students. Please proceed to the photo backdrop at the hallway outside to take the group photo together. Thank you once again for your presence today, and we look forward to seeing you in our future events. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Goodbye.